Hi, everyone. Welcome to Spill the Tea Radio, where we interview awesome singer songwriters and those who influence their lives. Spill the Tea Radio explores the journey, creativity, and inspiration behind the songs. My next guest is from a six-piece all-female vocal group from Edmonton's inner city. Embracing the diversity and wide-ranging musical backgrounds of each of its members, they create a roots soul blend of R&B and non-religious gospel style music that is easy to sing along with and hard to forget. Their inception story is as captivating as their music. And my guest joins me today all the way from Edmonton. So let's spill the tea with Anne Vriend, also known as AV. Welcome, AV.
Thank you. And actually, while you were saying that, I didn't spill tea, but I spilled my coffee.
Okay.
Oh,
Spilling the tea, spill the coffee. It's all the same to us, as long as we get the story. AV, I would like you to tell us a little bit about the band, because you have so many interesting it's like the world came to Edmonton and decided to join the band. It's like United Nations in this band. So tell us about the different people and their backgrounds and how you all connected.
Sure. Well, I mean, first of all, Edmonton, like lots of Canadian cities, or maybe all, is that, right? Just the world coming to Canada for different reasons. And we also have an Indigenous member of our group who's our real Canadian. And I'll start with her. Her name is Debbie Houle, and she's been singing background vocals for various groups for a long time, and also was in, well, it's reforming now, an Indigenous Cree band called Asani, which is all female as well, and they sing a cappella with some percussion. And that she was in that band for 23 years.
Wow.
Which is a long time to be in anything. Another singer is Joanna Aline. I call her JoJo. She goes by a lot of different names, including she has a pickle and preserves company called Mojo Jojo Pickles.
Of course.
And this is her busy season right now because that's when you harvest the pickles and make them into pickles and sell them at Christmas time. And she also has a background in musicology and has sung in some bands too and some choirs. Jen Dallin was the city of Edmonton's very first professional full-time female plumber.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and now she does building maintenance for the city of Edmonton and also sings with a few groups, including ours. And had a marching band experience. And let's see, Crystal Ayo is she has her own band called Mercy Funk here in town, which is kind of like a funk pop band. I just learned recently her dad was a professional soccer player who came here from Nigeria to play soccer. And she also has a communication company that she runs and has sung in some choirs in addition to having her own band. And Alenka Landell is, she came to Canada about 20 something years ago from Czechoslovakia, or former Czechoslovakia, now Czech, and was a singer-songwriter there in some bands, and came here and started doing some musical theater and had a family, and she's getting back into music with that. So, and I'm Anne Vriend.
Now, you all connected your individual performers on some porch performances during the pandemic.
Yeah.
And that's how you all met and came together. So how did you decide that this was going to be a good idea to put you all together?
We didn't actually decide that. We're still deciding maybe. Well, as you mentioned, that's sort of our origin story, that other than JoJo and I, nobody in the group knew each other before the pandemic. And then I had, but like everybody else in the music world, had tours and things scheduled and concerts, and then they were canceled and postponed and canceled and postponed, for about 2 years running. And during that time, while I was raiding around to find out what would happen with my entire profession, I guess, as well as my individual career, in this house where I'm sitting right now, I have an old character home in the inner city and has a fairly large front porch, and that sort of classic white railing around the front porch style. And one spring day in April of 2020, I decided to put my keyboard out on the front porch and a microphone and sing to anybody walking by because I was that bored and that not interested in online performing. And so, and because I live in a high volume walking traffic street and lots of people here don't drive and there's lots of amenities right by my house. So there's a lot of people walking by all the time. So then I built in an audience for the day. And then I did it the next week. And JoJo, who had sung background vocals with me earlier in 2019, she came and joined me. And then the next week, more people joined me, and because we all could be on my porch and still 2 meters apart, as was
Right.
remember the 2 meter thing.
Remember the 2 meter
And
rule very well. I don't know if anybody that lived it. I don't think we're ever going to forget it.
no, the 2 meter thing, and people drive. Well, we all got a good idea of what 2 meters looks like.
That's right.
So there's one plus. And the other plus was that, yeah, we started doing these concerts every Sunday, and more people were showing up because the word was getting out and the media started covering it. So by the summer of 2020, we had like multiple bands, kind of like a festival style. We had a professional sound guy who stood next to my rain barrel, and which may not have been so safe for his equipment, but and he did live sound for us, and it grew to the point where we, over the 2 years of 2021, we did over 60 concerts for the neighborhood.
Wow.
So, and then you may remember the next set of rules in 2021, we were starting to be allowed to have concerts, but they had to have 50 people or less and be outdoors. And so I started getting these little weird outdoor concerts, but they, didn't pay very well. There's only 50 people allowed.
Right.
And so the money was not even worth talking about, really. So I thought, okay, well, I'll do it because what else am I going to do with myself? But the idea of doing them by myself after getting so used to having all these harmonies and people joining me with my song was like, I was completely uninspired to do them solo. And so I asked the singers for the summer if they wanted to join me to do these concerts. But I was like, if we do, like, maybe we should like actually rehearse. Like, we hadn't ever actually bothered doing that. We would just get on my porch and start making up harmonies and very jammy, like,
Yeah.
not super pro. And then they all said yes, all of the women that I asked. And then I started writing out arrangements. And by the end of the summer, we had showcased in Toronto lined up. And that led to festivals the season in 2023 and 2022 and this year. So here we are.
Let's
Yeah.
talk about the music scene in Edmonton. I got a real education on it with the very first person that I spoke with out of Edmonton, Mallory Chipman, and
Absolutely.
uh, and of course, as an ignorant Easterner from the Toronto area, we and I have three brother-in-laws that are in Calgary. I've got a niece and family in Edmonton, and we assume that as soon as you pass over the Manitoba border, it's going to be country music all the way through to Vancouver. And I got an education that in Edmonton, there is a massive jazz scene.
Mhm.
Edmonton is the host or is the place where the oldest jazz club in Canada is located. So give us an education on the music scene in Edmonton with respect to your genre.
Okay. Well, um, there's so many ingredients that go into soul, it being sort of the secular commercialized version of African American gospel and blues, you know. So being that we are not from the south of the USA, there's the soul influences here. There are definitely lots of people from directly from Africa living in Edmonton, especially in my neighborhood. Um, but not via the US, not via that whole
Mhm.
um, migration and slave trade thing. And so uh, I could speak to the whole directly African influence. There's a lot of Caribbean people from here, from the Caribbean, a lot of people here from like Senegal, sorry, not Senegal, Somalia and Sudan and um, you know, East Africa, a lot of Ethiopian and Eritrean people. But the other thing I would say is um, you're right about the country thing. That's sort of the establishment, in the music industry started a long time ago. The whole settler culture was the dominant thing at least in the music industry. And so that therefore country and rock, like most of Canada, country and rock was sort of the people in the music industries. That was what the music they knew. And so that was the music that they, signed and attracted. And, um, you know, that's what it sort of was therefore reflected back to most of us in Canada. But meanwhile, like everywhere else, we're all listening to all the music coming up from the US. Like, I don't know a single person my age that doesn't know the entire Stevie Wonder catalog or, what, like it's just in our vernacular.
Mhm.
Um, and then also, but speaking to the Edmonton scene, um, we are lucky in that we have had the longest running blues show on radio, blues show in Canada. Run, and there's a record label that was here for a long time called Stony Plain Records, and they were notorious, or not notorious. That sounds like a negative word. Famous
Fa-
in that they
famous.
a lot of blues artists up for decades and decades and decades, legendary blues acts to come up here. And in addition to the Yardbird Suite, I think there's the commercial hotel slash Blues on White is a iconic blues venue here in town, and it's been here for I don't know how long, but like a very long time. And I think has some sort of with the oldest blues club, some sort of like statistic like that,
Mhm.
which I'm sure the internet knows the exact things about that. But the point being that is in over that time, because of Sterling playing records and Olga Peterson's radio show, blues artists were brought up here from the US, like in the South and in Chicago and Kansas and all that stuff all the time. And they used to play like 5 to 7 nights a week runs. So you could go there and just hear the real deal, you know, any time. Like I don't even think you had to pay sometimes. Like so growing up, like that was what you would do. And then they would have jams there on Saturdays. They think they still do have jams there on Saturdays. And so it cultivates a whole scene that way. And then that combined with the jazz program that I'm sure Mallory told you about because she was part of that, and her
Yes.
grandfather was part of founding it,
Right. Yes. Yes.
who is who is also very instrumental in bringing a lot of music here and running a big TV show that brought a lot of artists here for a long time. Um, so between all of that, a lot of jazz and a lot of blues was brought specifically to Edmonton um, for decades and decades that definitely shaped and influenced like generations of musicians here.
Let's get into one of the songs that AV wrote. This song was written by Anne and was recorded at Riverdale Recorders, located just down the street from where the group began in Edmonton's inner city neighborhood of Macaulay. Released in October of 2024, it was co-produced by AV and Ellie Mercier. Let's take a listen to singer-songwriter Anne Vriend and her song, Lion at the Gate.
Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, everybody knows, knows. There's a lion at the gate of heaven, haunts you like a ghost, ghost. There's a lion at the gate of heaven, just as you're getting close, so close. Oh, there's a lion at the gate, if only it would go. I had shoes with tangled laces, tried to run solo, three-legged races, so strange even circles have so many hiding places, and whiskey can make everything so fine. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, everybody knows, knows, knows. There's a lion at the gate of heaven, haunts you like a ghost, ghost, ghost. Yes, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, just as you get close, so close. Oh, there's a lion at the gate, if only it would go. I jumped through hoops and into a pit. Followed the rules, but started playing the game a bit. I was a fool who knew everything, but if you turn a ladder sideways, you're only crawling. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, everybody knows, knows, knows. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, haunts you like a ghost, ghost. Yes, it does. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, just as you're getting close, so close. Oh, there's a lion at the gate, if only it would go, if only it would go. Oh, there's a lion at the gate, if only it would go. Lion at the gate of heaven, everybody knows. Oh, yes they do, yes they do. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, haunts you like a ghost. Yes it does, yes it does. Oh, there's a lion at the gate of heaven, just as you're getting close. Oh, there's a lion at the gate, if only it would go, if only it would go. Only you can make it go. Find out what you need to know. Hold the hands of those you know. Oh, if you can make it go, you can make it go.
That was Lion at the Gate by Vriend. And tell us about the song. What's the song about, and what was the inspiration to write it?
Well, the song is about facing your fears and your hang-ups, I guess, things that are getting in the way of one fully enjoying life and feeling empowered. And I don't remember when I wrote it, but it was a really long time ago. I wrote it long before the pandemic and long before I met any of the singers in the inner city. And I just had it sitting around in sort of my metaphorical vault of songs, just songs that I didn't ever put on other albums because I didn't feel it belonged and didn't get around to develop like finishing arrangement. or just getting in the studio with it. And so when it came down to like deciding to put an album together for this group, and I just made a list of all the songs I already had. And I thought, oh man, that one would be so good for the group because I could just hear the harmony. I could just almost hear the arrangement. It just needed that to kind of complete the sound of it. I think it would just be empty without that. So I kind of took it off the shelf, dusted it off, finished it, arranged it.
Well, it's a great song. How do people find out more about AV in the inner city? What's the website? What are the socials and streaming platforms that people can listen to your music?
AV and the inner city with an and symbol, like an ampersand. The word I didn't even know until we had this group is an ampersand. Now I know that word. AV and the inner city at Instagram, on Facebook, and our website is. There's two ways to find the website. If you go to my website, Vriend.com, there's a drop-down menu of that. And then if you go to just AV in the inner city, we have our own website as well.
We have been in conversation with Anne Vriend from AV and the Inner City. Anne, thanks for being with us.
You're welcome.